In a lawsuit filed by writer Eugene Carroll, who claims that former President Donald Trump sexually assaulted her in a Manhattan department store in the mid-1990s, a federal jury has found that Trump is liable for battery and defamation. The 9 jurors unanimously decided after just over 3 hours of deliberation that Trump did not violate Carroll. However, they both agreed that when he denied her account, he sexually abused her and slandered her. Today, the truth is finally known by everyone. This victory belongs to all women who have suffered because they were not believed, not just me, Carroll said in a statement. Trump's attorney informed NPR in an email that the former president would appeal the ruling. Jurors in a federal courtroom in New York City heard Carroll's account of a flirtatious encounter with Trump that turned violent in the middle of the 1990s, when her career as a writer and advice columnist was at its height, at the Bergdorf Goodman department store. Carroll claimed that the incident prevented her from developing romantic relationships, and that her career suffered as a result of going public with her claim. She filed a defamation lawsuit against Trump in 2019 after he rejected her claim. The dispute over whether Trump could be sued for a statement he made while president has caused the federal court to put the case on hold. Following the temporary lifting of the statute of limitations for survivors of sexual assault in the state of New York in 2022, she filed a second lawsuit, this time including a battery claim. In court, Trump did not show up. He has consistently refuted Carroll's allegations, and he did so again on Tuesday following the jury's verdict. "I have no idea who this woman is at all." On Truth Social, he penned, "This verdict is a disgrace, a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time." Then he continued, "Very unfair trial." Carroll and her attorney Roberta Kaplan left the courthouse together after the verdict was announced, with Kaplan saying, "We're very happy." Carroll smiled as she left but avoided speaking to the press. The burden of proof for the battery claim was lighter in a civil trial than it would have been in a criminal one. Carroll had to prove her case by a preponderance of the evidence, rather than beyond a reasonable doubt, as required in criminal trials. In other words, the jury only needed to think Carroll's version of events was more likely true than not. A civil battery claim in New York may cover a wide range of unwanted physical contact. The jury was also asked to consider whether Trump sexually abused or forcibly touched Carroll, in addition to whether he raped her. At the beginning of the trial, U.S. District Judge Luce Kaplan instructed the jury that anything from a gentle but unwelcome peck on the cheek to stabbing someone with a knife could be battery for purposes of a civil case like this one. The jury determined that Trump was responsible for battery and gave Carroll $2 million in compensatory damages, as well as $20,000 in punitive damages. The jury determined that Trump had acted maliciously, out of hatred, ill will, spite or wanton, reckless, or willful disregard of the rights of another, when he claimed she had made up the story, awarding her $2.7 million in compensatory damages, and an additional $280,000 for punitive damages. Carroll gave a thorough account of the alleged incident over the course of 3 days on the witness stand. She claimed that they ran into each other by chance, they recognized one another, and Trump asked her to assist him in buying a gift for another woman. According to Carroll's testimony, she initially felt delighted and enchanted to be shopping with Trump. They made out. But when they got to the dressing room, she claimed that he restrained her, shoved his fingers inside of her, pulled down her pants, and started raping her. She claimed that she needed him and then fled. She recalled that she had at the time told 2 friends about the assault. She didn't report anything to the police. When Carroll's memoir, What Do We Need Men For?, was published in 2019, she made her claim public. A simple request. Trump vehemently refuted the allegations, famously labeling Carroll "not my type," and claimed Carroll made it up to boost book sales. Elle magazine let her go after she went public. Carroll stated on the witness stand, "I am here because Donald Trump sexually assaulted me, and when I wrote about it, he claimed it never happened. I'm here to try to regain my life after he lied and destroyed it." She became emotional at various points during her testimony, her voice shaking. "I have almost 100 times regretted doing this, but in the end, having my day in court is everything to me, so I'm happy," she said. 2 friends who testified that Carroll had told them about the attack soon after it occurred were heard by the jury during the second week of the trial. In an effort to show a pattern of predatory behavior, Carroll's lawyers also questioned 2 other women who had separately accused Trump of sexual assault. Trump did not give a testimony to support himself. Carroll's lawyer Mike Ferrara seized on that, telling the jury during closing arguments that Trump's attorneys had decided it would hurt their case if they did. His defense team did not call any witnesses. His attorneys instead tried to cast doubt on Carroll's account. They focused on Carroll's inability to recall the specific day or even the year of the alleged encounter, under the direction of defense lawyer Joe Tacopina. Trump claimed that this rendered it impossible for him to defend himself. "Send me a date." In November 1995. 7 November. 3 April 1996. "Sure. Calendars are available. There are plans. Appointments exist." During Monday's closing arguments, Tacopina stated, "We could see where he was. But of course, I can't provide an alibi without a date, a month, or a year. Cannot call witnesses." They questioned her about why she decided not to call the police after the incident, and why she later described her life as fabulous, despite claiming to be in emotional distress. Tacopina countered that it was more likely Carroll and her pals had colluded to spread a false story, because they hated Donald Trump with a passion. In the end, the jury reached a different conclusion, a decision Tacopina called perplexing. He told reporters outside the courthouse they rejected a rape claim, and she'd always claimed this was a rape case. Obviously, a part of me was very pleased that Donald Trump was not called a rapist. Trump's assertion that the former president could not be given a fair trial in New York City, where he received only 23% of the vote in the 2020 presidential election, was echoed by Tacopina. During his campaign for the 2024 presidential election, the former president was a party to a number of legal proceedings, including the Carroll trial. In addition to facing criminal charges in Georgia and investigations by Department of Justice Special Counsel Jack Smith into Trump's handling of classified documents and his attempts to rig the 2020 election, Trump is also facing civil litigation in New York that alleges a decades-long pattern of fraud by him and his company.